The Ethical Crossroads, AI Decision-Making in Life and Death Situations. Welcome to Future Ethics, the podcast where we explore the moral complexities of our rapidly advancing technological world. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into one of the most challenging questions of our time. When artificial intelligence holds the power to make life and death decisions, how do we program ethics into code? We're examining two fascinating yet troubling scenarios. First, the autonomous vehicle speeding down a busy street, forced to choose between hitting a child or swerving into a group of elderly pedestrians. Second, the military drone hovering over a battlefield, calculating whether to engage a target that might be surrounded by civilians. The trolley problem goes digital. Let's start with something that might seem more familiar: self-driving cars. Picture this. You're sitting in your autonomous vehicle, reading a book, when suddenly the car's sensors detect an unavoidable crash scenario. A child has run into the street. The AI has milliseconds to decide: hit the child or swerve into a crowded bus stop. This isn't science fiction anymore. It's happening right now in research labs and boardrooms around the world. Engineers are literally programming moral decisions into algorithms. But here's the uncomfortable truth. There's no universally correct answer to these dilemmas. MIT's Moral Machine experiment surveyed millions of people across the globe, and the results were eye-opening. People in different cultures, different countries, even different age groups made dramatically different moral choices. So whose ethics do we program into our machines? The battlefield algorithm. Now let's shift gears to something even more complex: artificial intelligence in warfare. Modern military drones and autonomous weapon systems face similar ethical calculations, but with exponentially higher stakes. Imagine an AI system identifying a high-value target in a populated area. The algorithm calculates a 70% chance of mission success, but estimates potential civilian casualties. Traditional military doctrine might accept this risk, but should an artificial intelligence make that same calculation? The International Committee of the Red Cross has raised serious concerns about lethal autonomous weapon systems. They argue that machines should never have the authority to take human lives without meaningful human control. But what exactly constitutes meaningful human control when decisions must be made in microseconds? The programming paradox. Here's where things get really interesting and really complicated. Both scenarios reveal the same fundamental challenge. We're asking programmers to encode moral philosophy into software. Pause. Should an AI prioritize the young over the old, the many over the few? Should it consider the social value of different individuals? These questions make most people deeply uncomfortable, and rightfully so. Yet every line of code in these systems represents a moral choice. Professor Stuart Russell from UC Berkeley puts it perfectly. The problem isn't that the machines will become too smart, it's that they'll be too obedient. They'll follow our programming exactly, even when that programming reflects our biases, our mistakes, our moral blind spots. The human element. But here's something we often overlook in these discussions. Humans already make these choices every day. Emergency room doctors decide who gets treated first. Military commanders authorize strikes, knowing civilians might die. Police officers make split-second decisions about when to use force. The difference is that humans bring intuition, empathy, context, and the ability to break rules when the situation demands it. We can choose mercy over logic, compassion over calculation. Can we program that into an algorithm? Some argue that AI systems might actually make more ethical decisions than humans. They don't panic, they don't discriminate based on race or appearance. They don't make decisions based on fear or anger. They could potentially save more lives by making purely rational choices. The accountability gap. This brings us to perhaps the most troubling aspect of AI ethics, the question of accountability. When a human driver hits a pedestrian, we know who's responsible. When a human soldier fires a weapon, there's a clear chain of command and accountability. But when an AI system makes a fatal decision, who bears the moral and legal responsibility? The programmer who wrote the code? The company that manufactured the system? The person who deployed it? The government that approved its use? This accountability gap isn't just a legal technicality. It's a fundamental challenge to how we organize society around concepts of responsibility and justice. Cultural and global perspectives. One of the most fascinating aspects of AI ethics is how different cultures approach these dilemmas. Western philosophy often focuses on individual rights and utilitarian calculations, but Eastern philosophical traditions might emphasize harmony, collective responsibility, and the interconnectedness of all decisions. Should a self-driving car programmed in Japan make the same moral calculations as one programmed in Germany or Brazil? Should military AI systems reflect the ethical frameworks of their country of origin? These aren't just academic questions. They have real-world implications for international relations and global security. The path forward. So where do we go from here? Some experts advocate for international treaties governing AI weapons systems, similar to agreements banning chemical weapons or blinding laser weapons. Others push for radical transparency, requiring companies to publish the ethical frameworks embedded in their AI systems. There's also growing support for explainable AI, systems that can articulate their decision-making process in human-understandable terms. If an autonomous vehicle decides to swerve, we should be able to understand exactly why it made that choice. But perhaps the most important step is continuing these conversations. We can't let engineers and companies make these profound moral choices in isolation. These decisions affect all of us, and we all deserve a voice in shaping them. Final reflections. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this thought. The ethical dilemmas of AI aren't really about artificial intelligence at all. They're about us, our values, our biases, our moral frameworks, and our vision for the future. Every time we interact with these systems, every time we accept or reject their decisions, we're participating in a vast global experiment in machine ethics. The question isn't whether AI will make moral decisions. It's whether we'll take responsibility for teaching them well. The future of AI ethics isn't determined by algorithms or corporate boardrooms. It's determined by conversations like this one, by citizens demanding transparency, by ethicists and engineers working together, and by all of us refusing to accept that moral complexity is too difficult for democracy to handle. Pause. Thanks for joining us on Future Ethics. I'm your host, and remember, the future isn't something that happens to us. It's something we create together, one decision at a time.